Some CDU politicians have got caught making extra money off the pandemic, prompting criticism from other CDU politicians who used to make extra money off arms companies. Meanwhile, it turns out that Julian Reichelt, aka the tumour on the colon of the gutter press, is in fact a big bully. Time for some bourbon and coke. But press your thumbs for Megan's black belt in speaking German. It's Masken time.
Hello everybody, it's time for another episode of Megan's Megacan. I'm Megan and I'm here with ex-Berliner Magazine and Konrad Werner. Hello Konrad.
Hello.
I'm trying a jauntier thing. I think we need more jaunt in 2021. And I think you're looking either appreciative or alarmed or a combination of both, but I'm going with it.
Anyway.
You all right? How's your week been?
I have been investigating corruption in the Chinese healthcare market.
Oh, no.
Which involves
awful.
A German company and some other multinational companies.
Oh, no.
And it's just quite a lot of work. Turns out, like, real journalism, as opposed to chatting on a podcast, is actually quite hard work.
Exhausting, yes.
It does your head in.
It also sounds like a super depressing tema as well.
It's not depressing. I mean, I wouldn't say it's necessarily depressing. It's just kind of quite involved. Can you imagine like a big string, a logical string, where you go, this proves this proves this, this proves this. And as soon as you've got one thing fixed in your head, saying this proves this, and you go, okay, that's fine. And then someone else goes, yeah, but what about that other thing you said? Does that still prove if that case? And then you have to go back and it's like knock that mold on the head. Like that whack-a-mole. You've got to knock that mole down, that logical mole, and then another one pops up somewhere else. Yeah. And you've got to keep the same bits of information in your head at the same time. It's a bit like being a lawyer or something. It's like, what can you prove? What can you absolutely prove about something?
That's a lot different to what we do here. Which is, here are the bare facts that we have Googled.
And I am working...
Because we know that something has happened and we know that we should know some things about it, and then here are our opinions. Okay,
and and there's been like a legal team is also involved who are checking all my facts, and then I have to talk to them and stuff.
Oh god, that sounds nightmarish. Well, it's Friday.
It's Friday,
which can only mean one thing. Well, it's Friday currently. I don't know where it is with everybody else, but let's just pretend for everyone right now.
Yeah,
it's 6:46 on a Friday, which is Megacan time. And you've had a bad week. I have a big German exam on Monday morning.
Oh yeah.
The highest level of German.
Great.
Which you can master.
Is it?
Or at least
like a grand master?
60% master. All I need is 60%. Reading, writing, speaking, listening. It'll be fine.
And then you'll be a black belt in German. Is it like the highest thing that you can do?
Sort of.
Right.
Sort of. I sort of know where I need... Yeah, anyway, it's very boring. But it is a bit like that. I think that I know something and then I'll have to conjugate something. I'm like, oh no. Or I'll realize I've been using a word and then I'm like, I know that grammar rule, but if I get a question on how to apply that rule or what the rule is, I don't know. Anyway, so we have cola because I need something like sweet. I genuinely feel like I'm depleted.
Okay.
And you have a choice with whiskey and Coke day.
Okay.
At the Apollo, and you can have Johnny and Cola or Jim Beam and Cola. So a Scotch and Cola or a bourbon and Cola.
I think I'll try a bourbon and Cola.
Oh my goodness, not going for the Johnny. All
Cheers.
Right. Cheers.
Right.
Oh God, why do I smell it every time? It's like putting your nose up to a car exhaust. I like that, and that to me is the quintessential Megacan, which has become so quintessential that in our friend group, if you talk about, we've ceased to call whiskey and Coke a whiskey and Coke. It's just a Megacan in a glass. Which I think is coined by the wonderful Gemma. So
anyway,
look forward to the day of drinking things in glasses. I don't want to start talking about the news. Don't make me. Okay.
It's been a big week in the German news. It's been quite exciting.
It has.
If you are of a left-wing persuasion, it's been a sort of triumphant week.
It has. Yes,
because
definitely.
The conservative parties, the CDU and the CSU, have been riven have been devastated by a series of corruption scandals.
They really, really have.
Yeah. In an election year, it couldn't have come at a worse time for the CDU-CSU.
It's like I can imagine lots of scenes of the thick of it. Malcolm Tucker. If anyone in the CDU has ever in their entire life been as entertaining as Malcolm Tucker is, which is impossible, just like, what? So talk me through what's happening.
There are 3 different scandals to keep your head on. But most of them are the biggest one is the face mask scandal.
Maskengate.
Lawmakers Nikolaus Löbl and Georg Nusslein, Löbl is from the CDU and Nusslein is from the CSU, are accused of having personally enriched themselves by lobbying for a mask supplier and winning a contract for masks. And Löbl has a company which made 250,000 euros in commissions for acting as an intermediary in mask contracts. He has now stepped down.
What? Sorry, I am about to appear even more naive than I usually do on this podcast. And I'm just going to say a series of like, what? Because this shocks me.
And a lot of people have expressed their shock. For example, German President Frank-Walter Steinmeier, who's like Germany's moral lodestar.
Is that the president?
Yeah.
Literally, I forget his name.
Well,
I cannot keep it in my head. Like every time, it's not that I go, oh yeah, that's the president. I'm literally like, who? What?
Can you picture him?
Maybe.
He's got white hair and glasses.
I was really out of my mind once running through the Tiergarten, and I remember coming across his house and just standing there being like, whoa.
What? You were out of your mind running through the Tiergarten?
Yeah.
How does that happen?
I don't know. We'd been to something. I don't know. We were just like running, wasted through the Tiergarten.
Oh,
and then
you weren't having a nervous breakdown? You weren't
No. Sorry, I mean out of my mind, like in a. Been a few Megacans, shall we say?
Right. Okay, I see. Oh well, him.
Right. So what did he say?
Frank-Walter Steinmeier. He said it was
Frankfurter.
Frank-Walter.
Oh, Frank-Walter.
Who said this was a poison for democracy. It's not just about trusting the integrity of individuals, it's about trusting the integrity of the state and its institutions.
I know, it's really funny. I've actually heard that in a podcast today, literally out of his mouth. And I still couldn't remember who the fuck he was. But now you've said it, I was like, oh, I've heard this.
Good. And then other people who have expressed their moral outrage, and this one's a bit funnier, is Wolfgang Schäuble, the current president of the Bundestag, the former finance minister.
Yes.
And way before then, one of the people in the CDU who really wanted to become chancellor. Mm-hmm. This is in the end of the 90s. Mm-hmm. But he also expressed his outrage, saying that anyone who has personally enriched themselves in an emergency situation such as this one is simply unanständig. What's unanständig?
I have no idea.
Might come up in your test.
Yeah, that's what I'm fucking thinking. Now I'm panicking.
Improper.
Improper.
Something like improper, yeah. And cannot be vereinbar with a seat in the Bundestag. So it cannot jibe with having a seat.
It cannot be aligned with.
Cannot be aligned with, yeah. So,
yeah.
That is quite funny that he should say that because...
Oh, God, why?
One of the reasons why he didn't become chancellor or leader of the CDU...
was because he...
Because at the end of the 90s, the CDU was in an even bigger corruption scandal, which tarnished the reputation of Chancellor Helmut Kohl, which was to do with party donations not being declared, and party at the time, Schäuble was accused of getting 100,000 Deutschmarks in an envelope and passing it on. He said, I did not touch the envelope, or he did touch the envelope, but he did not touch anything that was in the envelope or open the envelope.
That's fine then. That's fine. That's the moral.
But he did pass it on to the CDU treasurer.
It could have had anything in it, Conrad. He's not. Was it like a clear plastic envelope? A wee Polly Pocket? No, probably not. Leave him alone. Okay. Poor man.
It came from an arms company.
Oh, Jesus.
So that was back in those days. He got caught up in that. And so what I'm trying to do is sort of establish there's a kind of a tradition in the CDU of some kind of little bit of...
when I hear stories like this, what I'm like is, isn't it awful when a few bad apples spoil the whole bunch.
So a lot of people have been making that point, saying this is not a bad apple situation.
No.
This is like a systemic problem.
Oh, I was like, it's kind of out of our usual topics today, what we're going to discuss, but no.
The other scandal involves a man called Mark Hauptmann, who is a lawmaker from Südthüringen who publishes a newspaper called the Südthüringer Kurier, and they ran ads from big countries, including Azerbaijan, Taiwan, and Vietnam. And there's a kind of
conflict of interest there, because he's supposed to represent the German kind of government and people, but he's doing business kind of off the books with
Azerbaijan.
Not off the books, like
there's been a few Azerbaijan-based scandals in the CDU recently, because there's
been a lot of fucking Azerbaijan-based scandals. Full stop. It's a shit show.
Right, it's a kind of big sort of authoritarian dictatorship.
Bad boys. But they have got loads of money, which the CDU enjoy.
Yeah.
So
we should say that other German parties aren't necessarily clean. This just happens to there's been the week of CDU scandals, but the SPD, famously, the ex-chancellor Gerhard Schröder lobbied for Gazprom and Rosneft, and
those are just things you made up. They're either like techno record labels or some kind of horrible fossil fuel companies. Which is it?
Gazprom's a Russian fossil fuel company.
Damn it!
Gas company. Company, yeah. So, and they also have and Mayor Peter Feldmann, author of the SPD, he's mayor, I think, in Frankfurt. He is also currently under investigation by the state prosecutors in Frankfurt over suspicion of...
I love that you're just translating as you go. We do know what we're talking about here. We just sometimes have to have it in fact in front of us, because otherwise...
Yeah, I want to be informative.
Because we're drinking. Please, everyone needs to remember we're drinking.
Vorteilsnahme.
What's that? Like taking advantage?
Yeah, right.
Okay. So all political parties not great. The CDU seems to be leading the pack in terms of corruption. SPD also not tadellos, flawless.
And this kind of ties in with
FPD is basically balls deep in that as well. They must be. They just don't have any power, so nobody cares.
Oh, yeah. This has been an issue for years and years, decades. Is the issue of Nebeneinkünfte, so the income that the MPs take on the side.
Yeah, this to me is other jobs. Kind of insane. Surely being an MP is your job. You should not necessarily also be running a newspaper and a mask company negotiating. A mass production negotiators, like what? I don't even know what that is. It's just going to be an absolute nightmare for conflict of interest. But this, I think it's really hard to align acting in the public interest as a politician is supposed to, and capitalism, basically. The two cannot be done. I genuinely do not see how it can happen. And I think this is just showing that, no?
It does seem to me that if you allow MPs to have other jobs, they are going to do other jobs, and then there's going to be conflict of interest. It seems like a natural state of affairs. Obviously this is going to happen. And there was a study last year that I can quote. There are 709 MPs at the moment. 215, so about a third of them, have side jobs, and they earned between them 25 million in 3 years, 25 million euros.
Okay.
And,
this is very...
And it's kind of like a lot to do with the lobby register problem. It's the lack of transparency with what happens in the Bundestag, and the CDU and the SPD, but mainly the CDU, are always blocking new legislation to bring in some kind of register for lobbying, which is a standard thing. Which I should just want other thing. It's really a standard thing in a democracy. Like America, the US Congress has really big, very transparent lobbying laws, about the level of what donation you're allowed to accept and what you're allowed to earn. You have to declare all that in America, and it's the same in the UK, and it's kind of a standard thing in any democracy.
It's insane to me that we don't have it here. And they did bring in, I think, last week, didn't they? They like the CDU and the SPD agreed finally on like an update, like on a lobby register.
Yeah.
But as far as I'm aware, these things that happened this week, the lobby register would have done nothing to circumvent that. Like it wouldn't have been effective in combating this kind of corruption.
Yeah.
So it's just like anyone can go to anyone in the Bundestag or in the like Senate, wherever you are, and be like, give anyone an amount of money and no one knows.
Yeah.
I just pass you envelopes. Is that an actual thing that we're doing? That's insane.
Yeah, there's no record of which lobbyists are meeting which MPs and what happens in those meetings. That is not recorded. And are
the donations recorded, like over a certain amount of money or not?
Yeah, but it's pretty high, 50,000 euros a year.
Jesus.
So anything below 50,000 euros a year, you don't even have to publish that. Or yeah. So in other countries, like for example, I researched this once. I think it's in the UK. It was about 5,000 for the hurdle. Anything below 5,000, you'd have to.
Yeah, which seems kind of like. Anyway.
Yeah. So there's that.
So
I just want to say
bad.
this. Like, it's kind of bad.
That's an absolutely terrible thing.
Things are going on, and it's going badly
because
because
pear-shaped for the CDU at the moment. They're all under so much pressure, obviously, from the
the other Azerbaijan based scandal was that a state secretary who's also an MP, he got a phone call from Azerbaijan about
here Azerbaijan's on the phone, right? 2 minutes. Just
about ventilators, and he was asked to make a phone call to a ventilator company in Germany to see whether they could maybe make some ventilators for Azerbaijan because they really need some. And that is also, and this company apparently felt that this was a certain amount of political pressure to accept this,
okay, because they were maybe like, oh no, Azerbaijan, sorry, we're not going to be able to like give you those ventilators. And then, like the local politician phoned you up and goes, see about those ventilators. Are you absolutely sure? Are you sure? That's just madness. That's terrible. But I mean, as you said, if you're on the other side of the spectrum from the CDU, maybe, not reason to celebrate, but like it politically may be promising because we've got a lot of elections coming up.
Yeah.
Like you said, this is not a good time for like creepy Azerbaijan / people profiting from the pandemic, which is so disgusting. I'm not even going to go into it. And also so dumb. Like, this is the other thing. I'm like, if you're going to be like a corrupt politician, at least be smart about it so they don't have to worry that you're just, on top of being corrupt, you're also incompetent. That you haven't thought like, do you know what, lads? We can always profit off this at a different time. This is probably not the time to do it because if this comes to light, it's going to fuck us.
Yeah.
Like, they haven't even thought about that.
Well, they think the problem is the law lets them get away with a lot.
Yeah.
And then they don't think, oh, well, if it comes out, we can just say, well, we didn't actually break the law, which they didn't. And then they go, oh, well, they don't really
but again, if you're not politically minded enough to go like, this coming out in the middle of a pandemic will be really bad for me.
Yeah.
Like, you should not be running, like, you shouldn't be doing a paper route, let alone running a local newspaper. Like, absolutely not. So
this is the level, like this other scandal is like a smaller scandal, this thing about Azerbaijan. I should just spell it out exactly because I know what I'm talking about now.
Good.
He's called Thomas Bareis. Mm-hmm. He is a MP for the CDU and he's also a parliamentary state secretary in the economy ministry. And he is supposed to have made a phone call on behalf of Azerbaijan to a medical technology company called Löwenstein in the town of Bad Ems, asking about their order of 150 ventilators. And that's what he did. Like, he said, like, oh, this country has just, they just sort of phoned up and he said, oh, what's happened to these ventilators that this country ordered? And this company felt like that phone call from the economy ministry was a little bit of extra pressure.
Well, yeah, because it was. And that's how it was meant. Yeah. I hope he did it in like Eurovision style. Where they call in, it's like, here are the results from Azerbaijan. For your current speed at fulfilling this order. That's mad.
And the economy ministry did confirm that telephone call took place.
Oh, wowee.
Though Barais claims that at no point did he demand that the company make it a priority of that delivery. He didn't say, I didn't say make those ventilators first. But are you serious? Oh God! See, when people are in a corner, it's simultaneously one of the things that enrages me the most, and also I just love because it's such a human But I didn't actually say. I didn't actually say that. I was like, yeah, but we don't exist in a contextless vacuum, mate. If you call up and say on behalf of Azerbaijan, calling from the what is the Ministry for the Economy? Yeah.
Just wondering. And
just wondering about their mental. Just wondering. No pressure.
He's just genuinely interested. Maybe he loves Azerbaijan and he just wants to know as much as he can.
Yeah.
How lovely.
And he had over lunchtime off and, I don't know.
It's just an interested, oh God.
So
that's where we are with the CDU scandals, and it's a terrible time because lots of elections are coming up, including two on Sunday?
2 on Sunday.
Who's voting on Sundays?
Baden-Württemberg, Germany's most prosperous state.
Oh, I always think it's Bayern, but it's not. That must annoy them. That must annoy the Bayernese.
Well, it's touch and go. I mean, they're neck and neck. But
they are.
Baden-Württemberg has a lot of...
Lederhosen.
They have a lot of... They're doing pretty well down there. And the other state is Rhineland-Palatinate. Rheinland-Pfalz.
Rheinland-Pfalz, yes.
A sort of smaller state that people kind of don't think about very much, but it is an important state as well. Also in the west of Germany.
Yeah.
And what is interesting is that because these scandals and generally the whole situation in Germany with the vaccine disaster has led the CDU to be dropping like a stone in the polls.
Yes.
And the most
not
interesting...
hearing much about Jens Spahn's candidacy for the Chancellor position.
No. And this makes the election in Baden-Württemberg probably the most interesting.
Oh.
Because there's a chance where in Baden-Württemberg the current government is the Green Party is the biggest party.
That's also quite surprising to me. But
with their first ever state premier in Kretschmann. Mm-hmm. And their coalition partners are the CDU. But if the polls, Winfried Kretschmann, if the polls don't go the way the CDU would like them to go, then Kretschmann could have a choice of second coalition partner, and he could choose the SPD.
Would that be like a massive upset in Baden-Württemberg? Have the CDU been in some kind of power there for generations? Or I would imagine so, but I don't want to...
Yeah. They have, yeah. It's a very conservative state.
Yeah.
And, I mean, Kretschmann is, one of the more conservative Greens.
Well, I would imagine coming on...
He jives very well with the CDU.
Nice.
But, yeah, it's like it's a big deal. Now he has he could also choose an Ampel, a traffic-like coalition.
I cannot deal with Germany. After all of these corona measures, no more freaking traffic lights, lads. We're done.
This is a different traffic light.
I can't cope. Stufe Rot,
So,
Stufe Dinks.
What are the three colours in the traffic light?
I don't know, because the last traffic light I was with was from the Berlin education authorities, and there were 4 fucking lights on the thing. 4 colours. I've no idea. No, hang on. So green must be the Greens.
Right.
And red is SPD. And then orange would be... Oh, no. Not the FPD. They're
Indeed,
yellow.
Yes.
Oh, gross.
That would be the yellow...
Gross.
Colour of the FDP. And that is called a traffic light coalition in Germany. Or an Ampel coalition. And that would have a good chance of getting in. Anyway, so we will see what will happen. And, of course, all this is leading up to the big election at the end of the year in September... And
who knows what the world will look like by then.
And so the parties all want to like build up momentum towards the big election.
Yes. It's elections on all levels of German government this year, which is very exciting.
Yeah. Well, but it is. In Berlin, it is.
Sorry. Yeah, I just get excited at any time there's a Bezirkswahl because it's the only time I'm allowed to go down and vote.
So on the 26th of September, there's a federal election. On the same day as the state election in Berlin, on the same day as the municipal
that's
elections.
Me being very Berlin centric, but it's a super election year.
Yeah, and there are another 6 state elections happening, as well as the federal election this year.
So exciting.
So so we will see what will happen on Sunday in Rheinland-Pfalz.
Do you know what this? It's awful, but like I'm so upset about the vaccination strategy in Germany. But if it's going to get the Conservatives out of power, maybe, I don't know. Silver linings, people. Sorry, that sort of like seems like it's trivializing the fact that coronavirus is obviously a very deadly thing. But
yeah, it could. It could also tarnish Angela Merkel's reputation.
Yeah, but they're going to be horrible to her whatever way. Like, do you know what's not going to tarnish? Like, when they see the holy shit show of what's going to follow her, when all of these men of the CDU who can't seem to do anything properly. I don't know. Maybe we should be criticizing her more. But it's also... Anyway, anything else?
Well, the other thing is that Julian Reichelt got Me Too'd.
You are delighted about this, aren't you?
Well, a little bit. Julian Reichelt is the editor-in-chief of the Bild newspaper, which is like a cancer on German
He's also
society.
your nemesis, I think. Like
I really hate him.
This is the only subject on which you are more like aufgeregt than I am. You're just like
Well, I think I've become a little bit more zen about it now because I've learned to accept, that some people are able to make quite a lot of money by annoying people like me.
Yeah, but he's also got a bit of a comeuppance this week, which means you're probably able to be more zen about him. So what's the story? What's happened?
He has been accused of repeated bullying and abuse in the workplace, mobbing as the Germans call it, of particularly female colleagues who are working for him. He's accused of having affairs with people working for him and then promoting them when he was having an affair and then demoting them when the affair is over, that kind of thing.
Oh, God.
And
that's old school kind of, gross.
And and now it's caused in the media company is called Axel Springer, which is sort of the German equivalent of the Murdoch empire.
Yeah.
That's caused a kind of big internal investigation. What is just kind of, the thing is, if you work for the Bild newspaper, you're working for a bully. Like the whole newspaper is a bully for Germany.
It is. We were talking about this. This is the kind of publication that will take a virologist, such as the sainted Christian Drosten, who just became a public figure. I mean, I don't know. Like, maybe you could be more cynical, and maybe he does like the attention. But like, come on, we've got a podcast. It's fun. Like. Yeah. Shooting the shit about stuff that you're interested in every week. And he starts that, and he started off just to kind of calm the German people down and explain things about the pandemic. And the Bild's like, we're going to take you and make you Dr. Man, who just wants to explain scientific studies and like maybe keep people safe. You're going to become our public enemy number 1.
Yeah. Like
that's the kind of, what does that bring other than meanness and bullying?
And I think that so the Bild-Zeitung is the Bild-Zeitung. It's a cancer on
and
German.
Does it even
soul.
have like a particular political?
So anyone who works for it is going to be caught up in that.
Yeah.
Cancerous environment, toxic environment, and it would have been like even more surprising if he hadn't been like a toxic boss, a toxic bullying boss.
Like it's
like
not.
It would have been if he'd have been like a really cool boss.
Yeah.
That would have been more surprising.
It's not surprising at all, and it's still not
a chilled out entertainer. He's not a chilled out entertainer.
What's a chilled out entertainer? You're saying that like as a phrase. I've never heard it.
It's David Brent out of The Office.
I can only watch The American Office. I can't get started on Ricky Gervais right
now. Anyway, he's not a chilled out boss. He's a bully, and there's no other way, because his predecessor at the Bild-Zeitung, called Diekmann, was also accused of sexual harassment. Well, he was accused of actual rape. And Julian Reichelt, who was working for him at the time, he was like his protege, dug up dirt on his accusers. And, it's all dirty and horrible and disgusting.
It is absolutely horrible, and it just shouldn't...
Yeah. I guess we have to accept that some part of society, there's going to be this toxic part of life, which is going to, as long as there's money in being toxic and controversial, we're going to have to accept that these toxic publications exist and horrible things happen. And
but I do think maybe the worm is turning. Like, the fact that this is becoming a thing, that I don't know, this is what I would like to think. Certainly the kind of Julian Reichelts and the Piers Morgans of the world. I said that very German. Piers Morgan. Piers Morgan.
Sounds nicer in German.
Yeah. They seem very removed from young people's world that I sort of have a little bit of insight into, I guess, maybe. But again, that's only a very privileged kind of Berlin bubble private school. But
so anyway,
I don't know. I hope it's changing. I hope, mind you, they love Ben Shapiro, the young folks, don't they? I don't know.
And with that sigh,
have you finished your Megacan?
Yeah, pretty much. There's half an inch left.
It's really good, this Johnny and Cola. I'm really enjoying it.
Yeah, I didn't realise how much I wanted a Megacan. I think as soon as you came in, I was staring at your bag.
You have this Pavlovian response to me arriving with my Mary Poppins bag of Megas.
I was like, what are you gonna get out of your bag this time?
I know.
This week?
I really realised when I had that break from drinking, which I'd still highly recommend to everybody, just even sitting here, I felt drunk by the end of it, because it's just this kind of, that's just what I'm used to. Anyway.
Yeah.
Let's see what happens with the results of these elections on Sunday. That's exciting.
Yeah. Tune in next week for the results from the week earlier.
Baden-Württemberg and the rest, the Rhineland-Palatinate. What the fuck is it called?
Palatinate. Yeah.
Rhineland-Pfalz, I think we can just call it.
Yeah.
I think that's fine. Have a lovely week, everybody. Stay safe.
Stay safe. Wear your masks.
Wear your masks.
And don't touch anyone.
Do not buy the Bild.
Don't buy the Bild.
Absolutely not. Don't even share those headlines on the socials. It's a cancer, as Conrad says, on our
soul.
Seele.
Good luck with your exam next week.
Oh, fuck. I'm so nervous.
You'll be fine.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.